So just 2 years later, in 1998, Apple announced the iMac G3. No one had imagined that a company struggling to keep up with its competitors would design and build something that would change the personal computer industry. The first advantage that this computer had was that it gave the users faster access to the internet. Unlike what we have today, the internet was just becoming mainstream and devices were not optimized for internet use. In fact, it became one of the selling points of the iMac G3 with the popular catchphrase, "There's no step 3," meaning that users only had to go through 2 steps to connect to the internet. This may not sound like a big deal now, but it was back then. Also, at the time, many computers were simply boxes and towers. The iMac G3 looked completely different with a translucent, bondy blue, egg-shaped chassis with a 15-inch screen that Forbes magazine described as an industry-altering success. The G3 also used a CD drive instead of a floppy disk drive, which was a controversial change. The iMac G3 featured a G3 PowerPC processor, 32 megabytes of RAM, 2 megabytes of video RAM, 4 gigabytes of storage, and a price of $1,299. It was a huge success, and it sold more than 280,000 units in the first 6 weeks after its launch. In 1999, a new model of the G3 was launched with more colors. The RAM, video RAM, and storage were all upgraded. 1 year later, another model of the G3 was released with significantly better specifications. Fun fact: the I in iMac stands for the Internet. Ken Segal proposed this name and Steve Jobs didn't agree at first because he wanted to call it, wait for it, the Mac Man. That would have been a funny name for a computer that couldn't play the official Pac-Man.
Put them hands together and act like you know up in here.
In 2002, Apple introduced the iMac G4 with an improved design. The CTR monitor in the iMac G3 was replaced with a flat panel screen in the iMac G4. The screen was supported by a stainless steel arm attached to a hemisphere base. The design gave this new computer a unique look that made it seem as if the screen was floating in the air. This time, customers could choose between 15, 17, and 20-inch models. The G4 featured a faster processor, improved RAM and video RAM, 40 gigabytes of storage, and it had a starting price of $1,299. 2 years later, Apple completely changed the design of the iMac with the iMac G5. This was the first iMac that had its entire computer hidden behind a flat screen. The flat screen was supported by an aluminum stand, and it was considered the thinnest desktop computer at the time. The G5 was available in 17 and 20-inch displays, and the specifications were improved significantly. The lower-end model cost $1,299, while the more expensive 20-inch was sold for $1,899. In 2005, the iMac G5 received an integrated iSight camera. The RAM, video RAM, and storage were also improved. It had a base storage of 160 gigabytes, but was also available in 250 or even 500 gigabytes. Fun fact: 2006 saw the arrival of the first iMacs to use Intel processors, and this started a historic partnership between the world's leading chip innovator and, in my opinion, the world's most innovative computer company. Just when you think that Apple has nothing new to offer, they'll always surprise you with an outside-of-the-box innovation. In 2007, they replaced the white polycarbonate plastic that has been used in the previous models with aluminum and a black bezel around the display in the iMac aluminum. This model was more aesthetically pleasing, and it was the first to use the wireless keyboard and Magic Mouse. The iMac aluminum was the first to have 1 gigabyte of RAM and storage options ranging from 250 gigabytes to 1 terabyte. Surprisingly, the starting price was lowered to $1,199. That is $100 less than all previous models. In 2009, Apple further improved the iMac aluminum by introducing the unibody. Unlike previous models, it was the first one to have an end-to-end glass screen with a larger screen size of 21.5 inches. Also, unlike previous models, it had a 16:9 widescreen aspect ratio, which since became an international standard for computer monitors. All the features were upgraded with significantly more RAM, video RAM, and 500 gigabytes of storage. In 2012, Apple released the iMac Slim Unibody. Slim because it was